So the interiors of the buildings in this particular village, I don't know what it's going to be like for in the rest of the game. They're very, very basic, as you can see. But to be fair, there were places like this in Skyrim and Oblivion that were this bare. They tended to have just a bit more like furniture, but I don't know whether that's like the modders and the remasters that I've had in Skyrim. I really like these like little drape effects between the doors. It's pretty cool. But yeah, it's quite a basic interior. This chair here, you sit in it, and
do you favor a pawn who eagerly challenges the strong, or one who seeks out and gathers anything of use?
so you can basically question your main pawn. So this is the pawn that you created yourself. So she's the one I created. He's my main character, and every now and again they'll get like kind of like upgrade in their role, and then it will ask you a series of questions. Do you favour a pawn who eagerly challenges the strong, or would who seeks and gathers anything for use? So you can basically like choose their personality almost as to what they are like.
Leave strong foes to me. I shall fell them without delay.
So that's pretty interesting little thing. It's kind of like
I try to speak or remain silent as the situation demands. Would you have me continue in this way, Master? As you wish. I will attempt to be more talkative from now on. Should fate see you fall and come to rise again, how shall I offer my support? Understood.
So it's quite cool because that'll actually change what they, because the AI characters are completely AI, so they'll do things off their own back to an extent. You can order commands, so you can say like go or come, and if in battle comes quite handy because they'll often just run ahead to fight enemies, and then they'll like spawn more enemies into the battle because they've gone too far ahead on the road. So you can kind of like, so you basically, if you want to drag them away from the crowd of enemies, so you can kind of like pick the enemies off one by one, you can call your team over to you, keep your distance from the enemy, and then when the enemies are coming at like one or two at a time, they're a lot easier to deal with. Whereas if he wasn't to order that command, they'd just charge towards the enemies in sight. There's a bit of a wait. Seems there's nought you can take on at present. Okay, so this is basically like a kind of contract board type thing. But I think I've pulled all the quests off there at the moment. I've completed some still to do. And this is the first little town you enter. I think it looks pretty decent. I think it's got a real like sort of lived in, worn down, like sign of the times. I think it's pretty cool, man. I think for what the game is, how old it is, shadows work quite effectively. The rock, the buildings looks pretty decent. Yeah, it's all right. I don't know if it's because like my eyes are getting used to it, but the longer I spend in it, the more sort of I kind of appreciate. I suppose the graphics. It kind of reminds me of. Do you know that Crimson Desert game that's coming out? No loading screens for buildings. You just push the door open and go in. But yeah, you know that Crimson Desert that's looking really good, but doesn't seem to have a release date this century. It kind of reminds me of that, but obviously like a much more dated version of it, which is interesting. So I'm basically going to do a main quest now because I've not done any mains for a while. I've just done a couple of side quests and sort of collectible type quests. So yeah, I'm off. You'll see the little mini map in the corner. The red circle is like where you're sort of off to.
Not even the saltiest fishermen venture far from shore,
We can likely pass through here.
You might find yours safer than above. I suggest you search.
We best stay wary.
Endeavor to be ever calm in battle. Bide your time, then strike.
It's safest on the roads.